Lights, camera, action! Let's start the show. Here's a little advice from me to help your story unfold. This is your wedding series, and we are in episode 17. Today's topic, we are discussing the wedding proposal plan. Okay, so it's definitely going to be very focused on the groom-to-be, the gentleman, because you are going to be planning this wedding proposal. Hopefully, if you're watching this, you're the one that's planning the wedding proposal. And so you're the one that's going to be getting down on knee, proposing to your lady. And yeah, I'm so excited. You guys know that I love weddings. And so this is such an exciting time to be getting to this step in our relationships, and so, yeah. So you guys already know that your wedding series is about planning your wedding and all of those fun events, as well as telling your love story. And so many people, when they get to the engagement, this is usually where they start telling their story to the world. They're usually not talking about all that stuff that we talked about from episodes 1 through 16 that are very, very important to leading up to this day, to getting up to the engagement, okay? So, we are going to do a little bit of rewind in time, but we're going to make it quick, and we are going to be calling this Groom-to-Be, the future groom-to-be. Here is your checklist before you start planning. So, we're going to go ahead and get to starting the planning in this episode, but just really quickly, we're talking about the groom's checklist before he starts the planning for the wedding proposal. Now listen, you guys, I know that by this point, especially if you watched episodes 1 through 16, you probably don't need to go over this checklist. But like I said, we are going to make it quick, and it's more like a mental check-in for the guy so that he can feel prepared and ready for all this, okay? So, it's important that he feels good too, not just the ladies. We hear so much about how it's the bride-to-be, the bride, and we don't hear enough of the perspective of the male. And so that's why over here on this specific, platform, I'm keeping it real. And we're talking about both sides, okay? Both sides, how everyone is feeling and checking in. So let's jump into this. Future groom-to-be, here is your mental checklist before you start planning this proposal. And then we're going to get to starting to plan the proposal. All right. Checklist number 1. Ask yourself this question. All right. Have we been dating for marriage this whole time? And so this is a good step, going ahead with the proposal, right? So do you feel like you guys have been dating for marriage this whole time and that this is a good step to take? All right, so just checking in with yourself. You should have a yes to this by the time you're getting to the point of you're ready to plan a proposal, okay? Now, if you are saying no, we haven't been dating for marriage, you probably don't want to propose to her, I hate to say that, but you wouldn't want to jump into something that you both aren't ready for. Okay. Next checklist. We've been going to mentorship and counseling. So couples mentorship and counseling in our dating to marriage phase. We definitely have been attending that and going to that, and it was going pretty good. We've learned a lot. We understand that things aren't perfect and that there's a lot still that we both need for growth. We'll continue to grow throughout our lives, and you understand that, right? So, all right, next checklist. I know where we will live, our home and our city. So hopefully at this point, you as the future groom-to-be, you have an answer to this question. I know where we're going to live. I know what our home is going to look like starting off for our marriage. I've prepared a home for her and our family, and I know what city and state we're going to live in. So, future groom-to-be, hopefully you can answer that question. And along the way, since the age of 14, remember we started planning the wedding from age 14 for the future bride-to-be and the future groom-to-be. I know, most people aren't going to be going back and planning that far ahead, but I did. Okay, so I am giving some advice that starts all the way back then to help you with that, okay? To help your story really unfold. And remember, this is dating for marriage the right way or a better way, different than what the world is going to tell you how to date for a marriage, right? So that's why you are here with me. You're not just watching any old proposal video, okay? So just remember that. So also something to keep in mind for anyone out there who is Christian, the good Lord said, I go to prepare a place for you. In my Father's house there are many mansions. So understanding that there is nothing new under the sun, literally nothing. Many people are constantly stressed out and worried, well, where are we going to live? And God gave us instruction even for that, okay? The man was supposed to go, the groom-to-be, future groom-to-be. We are the bride of Christ, us that are Christian. And Jesus Christ is the future groom-to-be. And then look, he also has a father. So remember how I talked about how the future groom-to-be, who eventually would be dating for marriage, he's now at this point. Remember how I talked about at 14-year-old you that you were sitting down with your dad and you were talking about, and your dad's also wanting to sit down with you, your father, and he wants to sit down with you and talk about, well, we got to start figuring out where you guys are going to live, even though you're not even dating at that point at 14 years old, right? But that those conversations were had, and that your father or your uncle or your grandfather, some male in your family that's older than you, came alongside you and was helping you to prepare for this at 14 years old. You were saving up your allowance. You started saving up your money when you started working at 15 or 16 years old. You started putting money back for the house, and now you've already started building the house, or the house has already been built, okay? So that's how things kind of go along if we weren't following like world's definition of how to prepare for marriage, okay? Because they probably aren't going to tell you any of this stuff. I can guarantee you that they won't. So I just think it's really great that even in the good Lord's word, that he told us that he is going to prepare a place for us, and in his Father's house there are many mansions. So his Father is a part of it, our God. And so that he's coming alongside Jesus Christ, his Son, to prepare a place for his future bride. And that's us. Like I said, the bride of Christ. Look at how amazing that is. Anybody who understands that, I just want to hear from you, because like that is such a amazing just thing to think about. Like this light bulb that's just like so huge. Like it's, oh my goodness, like ding, that's it. All the men are like, well, what is our part in planning of the wedding, and like what's our part in the wedding proposal and all this stuff. Your part started all the way at 14 years old, just like hers, okay? So you can't just be sitting back thinking that it's just, okay, I'm just going to show up with my guys and it's just a huge party and that's it. And then later on, where are we going to live? How are we going to raise kids? Who's going to work? All these questions that should be the most foundation fundamental already have been figured out, and it's in God's instruction. Okay? So moving on to the next checklist. We've talked positively and openly and honest about marriage. Hopefully you can check this off of your checklist, future groom-to-be, that you and your loved one, your honeydew, you guys have sat down and you have talked about like what it's going to look like, that you guys have talked about marriage positively. You've sat down with counseling, mentorship. I have a lot of amazing videos about questions to be asking during that time for anyone who doesn't know what that looks like to be talking about this in a positive way, talking about marriage in a positive way, weddings and things like that, and what it means to you to be married, okay? Hopefully you could just check that off now, right? All right, next checklist. Checkpoint. I have a career, groom-to-be, future groom-to-be. You can say to yourself, I have a career, I have goals, I have hobbies, I have a great sense of how to groom myself, and I also have aspirations for my life. So hopefully you have an amazing smile on your face when you heard all of those, and you're like, yes, I do have a career. Check. I have hobbies. Check. These are something, like I said, you want to incorporate into your marriage, and also incorporating hobbies that you could have for the both of you or as a family. You also are looking at your sense of grooming yourself, and like, are you good at that? Making sure that every day you wash your face, you brush your teeth, you comb your hair, you put on clean clothes, you take a shower every single day. So I know that this may be like a funny one to most people, like, oh my gosh, of course, but guess what? There are people who are nasty, and they don't do that. They don't do that. They do not do that. I say it once again, they do not do that. So making sure that you have good dental hygiene, making sure that you have good body hygiene is also part of being ready to be a future groom-to-be and a future husband and a future father. Cleanliness is next to godliness. Okay? So make sure that you're doing those things. Also, goals and aspirations, make sure you can check this off as well. Like I said, by the time you get to this point where you're like, the wedding plan, I can't wait to start preparing this proposal, let's get to it, you should be able to just run down these and just check them off. Yep, I've got all of that, okay? Next checkpoint, I love her, and I see us having a future together, doing life together. So hopefully at this point, as a future groom-to-be, you can check this off as well, saying to yourself, I love her, I see a future with her, and that we can do life together, okay? If you can't see that, you probably don't need to be proposing to her, okay? If you cannot see that, if you cannot see that you guys are going to have a future together, you already can see problems that are just so huge along the way, that this is never going to work out, that you don't really love her, you're just in lust with her, move on, okay? Don't propose to this girl. Don't propose to this girl. Don't do it. Don't do it, because it's going to end in disaster, okay? It's going to end in disaster. Oh, these next two checkpoints have to do with our last two episodes, and I hope that you guys were watching them. This next checkpoint is I talked to my parents before proposing to her. That was a check mark, and however it went, you can say to yourself, I did do that, okay? I did do that. So, all right. The next one is going to be I talked to her parents. I had to talk to her. I talked with her parents. That's our last major checkpoint here. I talked to her parents, and however it went, I did do that. Okay? So those are your checkpoints to check in with yourself mentally, emotionally. How are you doing? Are you really ready to propose to her? Hopefully, like I said, by now, because you're sitting down, you're starting to plan this proposal, you can say yes to all of that. So now we're just going to go ahead and jump into the fun part. Okay, it's everyone's fun part, so that's why I'm calling it the fun part. But all the other stuff ahead of this should have been fun too, okay? It should have been fun. So, all right. Hopefully you're taking notes on this. Hopefully this is, oh my gosh, y'all know I'd be stalling. Let me just start. Okay. Start getting a plan together, for the time is here, okay? The time is here for your marriage proposal. Start getting a plan together right now. You're sitting down. You got your little pen and paper. You got your little tablet and your little stylus, whatever it is. And you are getting ready right now to start planning this wedding proposal, all right? So, something to keep in mind. Remember all of those questions that you guys went over when you were talking about, oh, one day I want to get married, and this is how I, would want it to be if I got proposed to. You know how she was. You know how she'd be talking. And you know that even as a gentleman, you've got some ideas, too, of how you would want that proposal to go. So, let's talk about some of those memories and how you can incorporate those answers into the wedding proposal itself, okay? So right now, remember, you're just making a plan for the wedding proposal. All right. Did you guys decide if you were doing a planned wedding proposal, marriage proposal, or were you doing a surprise marriage proposal? So important. You don't want to be showing up and you've got a big surprise for her and she did not want this. She wanted to plan the whole thing herself or vice versa, okay? So make sure that you sit down with the plan and you ask yourself, okay, did she want it to be planned out or did she want it to be like a surprise? Okay, so we talked about the differences there. The next thing to be thinking about is, did she want a new engagement ring? She wanted you to go out. She did not want anybody else to ever worn her engagement ring. She wanted a brand new engagement ring. Or did she want an heirloom from one of her grandparents, her mother, um, your mother, your grandparents? Or was she okay with coming with you to also to plan this part out? Did she want some say in the ring? Okay, before you go out and get the ring, because you got to go make a plan for the ring. Right now, you're sitting down, you're saying, okay, as the future groom to be, you're talking to yourself, all right, what did she say? Did she want to wear her grandma's ring? Or did she say she wanted to wear her mom's ring? Then you got to go talk to them, right? You got to now go have that conversation with them, figure out where this ring is, and all that good stuff. If she's got the ring, that's fine. You can get the ring from her. If it was a surprise engagement, she still doesn't know the date, time, and where to go. So it's okay that she knows that you're starting to prepare for this, okay? That's beautiful and that's amazing. So don't think it's going to blow the surprise just because you go to her and you're like, okay, I need that ring that we talked about that you want to be proposed with because da 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 da. And then how you guys decided you were going to incorporate that ring. Was it just she just wants to wear the ring, or did she want you to go and still incorporate a new ring into the heirloom ring? Okay, which I told you guys that's what one of my friends did. So it's really beautiful. I think that that's amazing when people have that story as well. Or did she want a brand new ring? So you got to go out now and go ahead and put that down payment down on the ring, or you got to just go ahead and buy that ring right out. Whatever it is, it's now time to get the ring, okay? So it's now time to go ahead and get the ring. Oh, this is so much fun. This is so much fun. Okay. The next thing that you need to do in the engagement plan, in the proposal plan, is remembering what did she say about her dream location. Now, you guys have probably been going different places on your group dates with family, with friends, with your church people. And so now you're trying to remember, okay, where was like her dream location? You guys have talked about it. Um, Probably even in counseling, you talked about it as well. And so you're like, okay, where was that? Now you need to go to that dream location. You need to figure out, what do I need for this to happen? Do they need some kind of money for it? Is it like at a museum, an aquarium? Is it, you have to pay for those places. Is it somewhere free, like the beach, the park? You're going to do a picnic. You're now going to go figure out where this place is. Was she okay with being proposed to at her parents' house, your parents' house, something like that, a friend's house? Maybe she wants to be proposed to at the church, like, during one of the sermons or something. At the end of the sermon, she was like, man, it would be so cool if, like, afterwards, like, I was supposed to, maybe her dream was also to be proposed to at an NBA game or an NFL game. That's going to be a little tricky, it's going to be a little tricky to figure out how you get to be on the Jumbotron and all that good stuff. But this is where you're planning out. You're trying to figure out, okay, what's our location? How is this going to look? Is it a picnic? Is it a dinner at a restaurant? Stuff like that. So you're figuring out the dream location and all that good stuff. Now, if she told you to just surprise her, she doesn't care. She never told you what the dream location was of her heart. She never had like this idea of like, okay, I want it to be here. I really want my wedding engagement to be here, my marriage proposal. If she never said those things and you guys did talk about it and you did ask her, just run with it. Just run with it. Do what you got to do. Do some research. Go online. Get some inspiration from social media. There's so many things out there. I mentioned a bunch on here already for dream locations that people have. Maybe she wants to go on a cruise, a day cruise or something, and you guys go on a day cruise. And so that could be really fun too. There's so many different things. There's now these people that like will plan out your whole wedding proposal for you. So you could contact them too. So just look through Google Maps and see who's, or do, website searches and look who's in your area that like helps with wedding proposals, because that could be another thing that you're like, okay, I don't need to have all this pressure on me for every single part. I'm going to go out here and I'm going to get the location figured out from these people who put together proposals. And like, that's fine too. Like, you could do that and that would be like amazing. Okay, amazing. All right. So the next thing that you want to do is you are going to, oh, I can't believe we're already at that part. Okay. The next thing that you want to do is pick a date and a time. So pick a date and a time. All right. Make sure that you have some idea of what date you want to put this on. What date do you want to have this, and what time do you want to have this? Because it's important that it doesn't fall on something where she's out of town. You don't want to make that kind of crazy mistake. Or let's talk about if it's a private proposal or is it with your family and friends, because you also don't want to pick a date where like most of your family and friends are out of town if she wanted her family and friends there. So not everybody wants the same type of wedding proposal, marriage proposal. Some people want it to just be private, just the two of them. They don't want anybody else there. And then some people are like, you know what? No, I want my family and friends hiding in the shadows, lurking around the corners. I want them to come out as soon as you ask me or after I said yes. And they're just so excited for that style. And then they're excited for like, okay, let's turn this into an engagement party afterwards. And so you guys could have an automatic engagement party afterwards as well. So that's why I say you're getting the plan together. You're getting the plan together. All right, what's our next part? Let's see. All right, so there may come a time with this that you might need to ask for some help. Okay, so before we get to that part, though, we're going to talk about attire. Figure out what's your theme of this. I know that a proposal is usually something that's not this long, like drawn out hours of an event or anything like that, but you still want to look nice. So be figuring out how you're going to get her to said location that we just talked about. What's the plan for getting her there? And this is why you may have to have some people help you out, because once you figure out the attire, then maybe it's casual. Maybe you guys are doing the private one where it's just casual, it's not a big deal. But if you're doing the one where it's like family and friends and it's going to be like this rooftop, soiree with the big party, that follows, you may want her to have a little heads up, a tiny, like some form of a heads up of like, oh, we're getting dressed. It would be really cool if your family already does these kind of things, like if they already celebrate birthdays or they already celebrate, the beginning of summer or whatever it is, and everyone's already used to getting dressed up or used to having themes. Then like it's not gonna throw everything off too badly. She's gonna be like, oh, okay, yeah, we're like meeting for dinner. Okay, like you just tell her like you guys are meeting for dinner, or you guys are gonna go, on a picnic, and hopefully she's the type that likes to get dressed for everything. I know I do. I like to get dressed up for everything. I just love playing dress up. It's so much fun for me to put together things, and it's not about like, oh, you need to be so elaborate in all of this. It's just about what is the plan. You need a plan. Okay? And like I said, it could be as casual as we're having dinner at your parents' house and she comes in like whatever she normally wears over there and you propose to her there and you guys are just in your casual wear. It could be as simple as that. But you have to come up with a plan. And this is why I said you have to have people involved, people to help you. And so, you don't have to. If it's, like I said, if it's super, super private, it's just parents and stuff involved, then that's fine. Because remember, you guys aren't doing any solo dating for marriage. You're doing group setting, right? So, you want to make sure that you're still keeping to that. That just because you're proposing to her doesn't now mean, oh, you invite her over to your apartment and you have a crazy dinner set up for her. And remember, we were talking about dating for marriage the right way. So you don't even live in an apartment right now wasting money on rent. you live at home with your parents. And remember, that was one of our steps in order to save money for both the future groom-to-be and the future bride-to-be. So if you need to go look at that, make sure you go look at those episodes. And don't forget that we're doing things the right way over here, okay? We're doing things a better way over here. You don't have to take any of this advice, but hopefully it's going to help you, and that you'll see that things could be differently in your lives if you take some of these pointers, okay? And then you can share it with the next generation after you. So, yeah. So, like I said, you are just going to ask for some help because you might need it, all right? You might need it depending on the plan that you set in place. Now, my next biggest advice here is take a deep breath. Take a deep breath. A lot is happening when you start to plan. You're going to get overwhelmed with all the different ideas out there, but think about both of your personalities. You don't want a hot air balloon ride if both of you are afraid of heights. And now you're going to go propose to her on a hot air balloon ride, and you're both afraid of heights, and then the ring goes flying out the hot air balloon basket. You don't want to do that, okay? So be real with yourself. Be honest with yourself of like what this wedding marriage proposal looks like to the both of you, how you both can be excited for it, not just her. Like I said, everybody focuses on her, but yet they don't realize that there's two people in this marriage. It's not just about the woman, it's also about the man, okay? So it's about both and equally. So, yeah, so just remember that. And if you are a future groom-to-be, or if you're a groom right now, like you already have proposed, you are groomed, all that good stuff, you know, like you're about to be married pretty soon, or if you are a future groom-to-be, you know that you're dating for marriage, like right now, you're watching this video and you're like, this has been so good, or you have some things that you want to add to it, like there's some more of the checklist you wanted to add into there, or you want to add more to the planning itself before you put your plan into place and all that good stuff, reach out to me. I would like to have you on the platform. I would love to have you here on your wedding series so that you can get to share your story with other people, your love story, okay? Your journey to the altar with other gentlemen who are trying to figure this out. So, like I said, if you're one of those, you're a groom-to-be, or you are a future groom-to-be, you're already like preparing for a wedding, or you're preparing for an engagement, make sure that you reach out to me. We can do a video call, and then we will share that video right here on the platform so that other people can also get a chance to have some good advice, you know, from the gentleman on this part of the process when it comes to preparing for marriage before he proposes, okay? That's what we're doing. So I will see y'all in the next episode. If you do want to be on the platform, remember, it's email me at yourcontentcreator@yahoo.com, and I will see y'all in the next episode. Oh my gosh, this is getting like so spicy. I'm so excited, and I hope that you guys are getting excited as well. And yeah, bye, lovebirds. I will see you in the next episode. Bye.
Lights, camera, action, baby, strike a pose. Phones and cameras out, just watch it all unfold. We're the stars of the show, ain't no need for filters. Living life through the lens, capturing our breath. Put away your phones and cameras, let the good times roll. Our content creators got it all under control. From weddings to events, parties, travel and brands, we're living the paparazzi life. It's all in our hands. Lights, camera, action, we're ready to go. We're professionals, don't you already know? From TikTok to Instagram, we're taking the lead. Content creator, we're planting seed. Get ready for the social media explosion.